Derek Carr struggled. The Saints had nothing going offensively. The defense also had a brutal performance, and I think it's officially time for the Saints to move on from Pete Carmichael. Let's talk about it right here on the Straight Up Saints podcast.
You're listening to the Straight Up Saints podcast.
What is up, Who Dat Nation? Welcome back inside another edition of the Straight Up Saints podcast. It's your host, Chris Vogel, and as always, we're brought to you by Scott Fickner. Injury lawyers have been injured in any kind of accident, car, truck, 18-wheeler, or hurt offshore. Scott Fickner handles it all. You give him a call at 504-500-1111 for a free consultation. They'll always fight for the win. Saints dropped to 2-2 this Sunday, and man, I was frustrated last week, right? You blow a 17-point lead. Derek Carr goes down. Just a really rough Sunday. And yet this one was 10 times more infuriating, 10 times worse. And I think I hate to be that guy to kind of sell stock this early in the season. But today was the type of performance, today was the type of loss where I feel comfortable saying the Saints will never win a damn thing with Dennis Allen. They'll win a couple games here and there. They'll have some moments where they look fun, some moments where we think, okay, I could start to buy into the hype. And the minute you believe, just for a second, they're going to snuff it right out. So let's start with Derek Carr and work our way towards the bigger problems. Because Derek Carr was a big, big problem today. He's not the main problem in New Orleans, but he was a big problem. Let's talk about Derek Carr. I said on Friday, when he went to practice and he started throwing around and people said he might play, I said, and it's the same thing I said with Winston, if you play through injury, if you play well, people are going to say it was a gutsy effort, a heroic effort, Herculean effort. They're going to praise you. They're going to talk about how gutsy it was. If you suck, you don't get points for toughing through an injury. You just suck that day. And Derek Carr today was downright horrendous. There's nothing he did well in this game. Inaccurate down the field, kept dumping it off to Alvin, didn't want to use his legs, which, by the way, if you didn't want to use your legs because you didn't want to take a hit, then maybe you shouldn't have been in there in the first place. And the fact that he had 127 passing yards on 37 attempts in this NFL, it's embarrassing. So Derek Carr today wasn't good. And like I said, guys, if you play through injury, you have to understand there's going to be consequences if you don't play well. We can't just go, man, but Derek Carr's a warrior. He fought through it. No, he fucking sucked today. Like, that's just the truth of the matter. That doesn't mean my opinion of Derek Carr changed. I still think Derek Carr is a solid NFL quarterback. He's somewhere in that like 18 to 13 range in the NFL. When he's good, 13 maybe. When he's bad, towards the 18 mark. He's a solid quarterback. Today, though, he was terrible. And I'm not going to give him a pass because he decided to play through injury. It was his decision and the Saints' decision. They rolled with it. So you're starting. Just like last year, Jameis was bad with the back injury. He decided to play. That was his decision. It happened. So that's where I'm at with Derek Carr. So he struggled. Not going to give him a pass. But the main problem and the reason that Derek Carr is not going to get the brunt of the anger, the frustration from us Saints fans today is because his offensive coordinator is the worst in the league. Pete Carmichael's bad. He's flat out bad. He shouldn't have been back this year. Shouldn't have been there last year. And the Saints, unlike other teams, the Chargers made an offensive coordinator change. They went out and got Kellen Moore. The Washington Commanders, who have been filled with scandals, filled with losses, filled with one of the worst owners in the league, and luckily for them, Dan Snyder's out now, so I don't have to worry about that, but had the worst owner in the league, they were able to go out and get a better offensive coordinator. They got a new one. They brought in Eric Bieniemy. The Saints said, you know, we averaged 19 points per game last year. It was a fun 19, though. Let's bring back Pete Carmichael. And that's cool, but Dennis Allen's got to understand, you hit your wagon to Pete Carmichael, and he's been downright dog shit, you're going to get fired. At least he should. This is an inept organization right now when it comes to what they're doing offensively. They don't play to the down and distance correctly, which is the simplest thing you should do in the NFL. If it's 3rd and 1, they take a deep shot. If it's 3rd and 15, they throw it underneath. How does that make any sense? And I promise you, when I sit here and I rant and I get it all, kind of in my feelings about what this Saints offense is, I'm not going to lose sleep over it tonight. But the reason I'm aggravated is I'm tired of the Saints running the same shit back and telling us it's going to be different. It's not. When the Saints started off 2-0, I preached a little bit of patience because I said, all right, they're finding ways to win. Let's see how the next 2 games are. The next 2 games haven't been better. They've been worse, but they're finally playing a little bit better of teams, so they're getting caught now. So you're not getting better, you're getting worse. It looks like the same exact team like last year. You just kind of reskinned it in a way. If I suck at Fortnite, but I get a new skin, that's not going to change. I suck at the game, I suck at the game. Pete Carmichael's terrible at calling plays right now. Bringing in a new quarterback ain't going to change that. So at some point, if you're DA, grow a pair of balls and understand, if you don't get rid of Pete Carmichael and this season doesn't go the way it plans, your ass is fired. And you're never getting another head coaching job because honestly, you shouldn't. It's year 5. And I tweeted this today and I fully mean it. And I promise I will get to all your comments in just a minute. Dennis Allen has been through 5 years. The results have stunk every fucking year. A team like the Colts with a roster that's not as talented as the Saints go out and get an offensive-minded guy like Shane Steichen. And in year 1, they've been fun as hell through 4 games to watch. And they're already really competitive. The NFL is changing. It's no longer a league that you can just ride defenses to success. You need to have offensive creations. You need to be innovative. So when I see a guy like Ben Johnson in Detroit doing his thing, if he becomes available this upcoming offseason, he will, that's a guy you go get. It's tiring. It's tiring of watching this. I appreciated the Sean Payton era. I'm grateful for the Sean Payton era. I want it gone. I don't want to see it anymore. I don't want to see any of his descendants, whether it's Dennis Allen or Pete Carmichael or Doug Marrone, whoever the hell it is. I don't want to see them anymore. So yeah, maybe the Saints will scrap and claw to 9, maybe 10 wins if they get lucky. Although at this point right now at 2-2 with a Patriots game next week, and that Patriots defense is going to make their offense look even worse. I don't know what to say. This Saints offense hasn't scored a fucking touchdown in their last 6 quarters. Do you know how hard that is? They have not scored a touchdown in the last 6 quarters. They have not scored an offensive touchdown, I think, in the last 7 quarters. In today's NFL, where a team put up 70 points. So it's the same shit as last year, guys. Shame on me for thinking they'd learn a little bit from last year. Just a little bit to get them to 9-10 wins. Just a little bit learn from it. It's the same exact thing. So that gets my last point before I open it up to you guys. Can the Saints turn it around? Sure, the technical answer is yes. The real answer is this is who they are. They're an aging team that defensively has their moments, but sometimes struggles a little bit too, and shouldn't be asked to carry the load, yet they are, and their offense can't even put up double digits in today's NFL. So you have a struggling offense, a head coach that doesn't know what he's doing, an offensive coordinator that doesn't even want to be there. What do you expect? And of course, there's little things too, right? Like Baker Mayfield torching the secondary today, that's embarrassing. The fact that the Saints have a punter who can't punt the football, that's embarrassing. The fact that the Saints have incredible talent offensively, but can't find ways to use them, that's embarrassing. There should never be a game where Chris Olave has under at least 50 receiving yards. Well, today he was practically useless. And now you're seeing the body language. And the best part about this whole thing, by the way, and I'll finish with this, Dennis Allen told them at halftime how they respond is going to be very telling of the type of team they have. Well, they didn't fucking respond. So either it's because your substitute teaching ass can't figure it out, or this team is just checked out. And I don't really think it's the second one. It's week 4. I don't think this team is checked out at week 4. But like I said last year, Dennis Allen always gives me substitute teacher vibes. He's kind of looking around going, should I say something? Oh, it's not really my place, though. Well, it's not going to be your place in about 2 months from now when the Saints inevitably fire him if this continues. And if they didn't fire him, then I'll probably stop doing this show because I'll have a heart attack on set. But the Saints got to figure it out, man. I don't think they're going to turn it around, but they have to have a really hard look in the mirror and think about what they want to be after this year. Because this ain't it. This is not football in the modern era. Every other team is finding ways to be fun, scoring points, and we're just sitting there watching paint dry for 60 minutes. It's fucking exhausting. Now, with that said, because, I'm just a bundle of joy today, let me get into your comments that you guys had. I'm going to start off with super chats, of course. Got one from Cam. Thank you, Cam, for supporting the show. Cam says, the Trevor Siemian offense was looking so much better than whatever this is. That's how you know coaching matters, because damn. That's a fantastic point. And while you're at it, I will bring that up. So the Trevor Siemian Saints offense with Sean Payton, mind you, it's kind of sad that that's the case. They were scoring pretty well. This was an offense that was doing their thing against teams like the Bucs. They had 36 against Tampa Bay, 25 against Atlanta, 29 against Philly. Then Taysom Hill comes in. They had 30 against the Jets. But that was the Sean Payton offense. Sean Payton, obviously, people like to dunk on him and whatnot because, he is a little bit of a petty coach. But Sean knew how to get the best out of his guys. And this offensive staff doesn't know what the hell they're doing. Jerry G says, we fucking suck. Well, that ain't that the damn truth. Ain't that the damn truth. Alexa says another week of continuity whooping our asses. Marco says it's a waste of time at this point. I'm going to stop watching us play until they sack both head coach and entire staff. I don't care if we go above 500. Wasting such talent, I want them all out. Pottyman27 says, what is best bet for fans to have any chance of encouraging the front office to enact change in coaching staff? Pete Carmichael is a POC. And then Fred says, if Pete Carmichael isn't fired today, then it's a wrap for this season. Yeah, I'm going to be honest with you guys. I don't think he's going to get fired, but at this point, what else do they have to see? Olave, Michael Thomas, Rashid Shaheed, Alvin comes back and looks fresh. Jawan got hurt. That stinks. But you have 3 really good receivers and elite running back. And you got the quarterback you guys wanted. You all said you wanted Derek Carr. Dennis Allen said it. Pete Carmichael said it. Offense looks the same. It's just $160 million more expensive now. Cooler Beat says, repeats of last year, get used to it until this organization starts getting rid of people. Tony Davis says, control, alt, delete. It's time. Trade AK, Thomas, Cam, Davis, and Lat. Well, they can't trade Cam because they gave him a big extension, even though Cam Jordan can't get after the quarterback to save his life right now. DeMario, I've been a big proponent of trading DeMario from last year. I said, go let him play for an actual contender at this point. It's not going to happen, though. Lattimore, I don't think you trade Lattimore right now, but who the hell knows? That's not going to happen. Same for AK, same for Mike. Mike's in his final year. He'll be somewhere else next year. Kyle says, I hate this team. Marco says, guys, I tweeted hashtag Pete Carmichael out. Please help me use that hashtag. Enough is enough. No fire is small enough. Let's kickstart this. I mean, I'm going to make it very clear, guys. I will be tweeting for them to fire him nonstop for the rest of the day once I get off this live stream. For now, I just want to hear what you guys have to say because, like I said, you guys make my Sunday very fun, something the Saints fail to do. But yeah, I'm going to get to your comments, and then we'll get there. Zeke says, Ben Johnson will save us, don't worry, and adds, I don't even care about winning the division anymore. This coaching staff ain't it. Got another super chat here from Carl Markey Marks. Thank you so much for the support, man. I've seen enough of the Saints this year. Fire everybody. We need a culture change. We're stuck living in the past, still pretending it's 2009. I'm sick of it. It's tiring, man. It's so tiring. You're trying to run the Sean Payton Saints, but Sean Payton's not there. So what's the point? The offense is this offense is bad enough. This offense would be bad in the 80s. You're now in 2023 and you can't score points. That's a death sentence. The defense has their moments, but the defense also has their moments where, man, they kind of look old and slow, especially up front. And we saw that today for a little bit. I thought there was that touchdown pass at the end of the game where Baker Mayfield had enough time to go back home, dust off his Heisman Trophy, come back to the Superdome, and deliver the touchdown pass. So there's struggles there. And I think for New Orleans, again, 2-2, it's better than what they were last year, but that's not saying much. And at the end of the day, the goal isn't to hover over 500 or hover at 500. The goal of this team is to win in a faulted division that isn't that good. And we even saw today, kudos to Tampa for winning the game, but Tampa doesn't look like a world beater. They just look like a better team than New Orleans, which they deserve credit for. But that's not saying an awful lot in today's NFL. So I agree with you. It's time to clean house, and it's not going to happen mid-season. And honestly, I don't care if it happens mid-season because at that point, you got to bring in new people to do jobs. It's not worth it. But after this season, get Dennis Allen the hell out of here. Pete Carmichael, I would get out tonight. I would fire him tonight and let Coach Ron Curry call the offense. Let Ron Curry call the offense and see. Because who knows, maybe Ron Curry looks better than Pete, and all of a sudden you can salvage somewhat of this season. But at least you get an answer. Because if Ron comes in, it's the same thing, and this team doesn't look good, we can all fire Dennis Allen and not lose any sleep. Not that I would lose any sleep anyway, but you get my point. Moving on to more comments here. Cooler Beat says, Bill Belichick is going to have a cakewalk stopping this dangerous Saints offense. Zeke says, we're so pathetic. Lala asks, at what point do they fire Pete Carmichael? I'll say it time and time again. I would fire Pete Carmichael right now. I would have fired him at halftime. I would have fired him when he decided that Adam Prentice should get the ball at the 1. But you know what? What are we going to do about it? Saints, it doesn't seem like they're going to fire him. As much as I want it to happen, I just don't see it. We got a comment here from Connor. Listen, the only question we need an answer to is if Pete Carmichael is employed tomorrow. Well, I'm going to bring up a real interesting comment real quick, and you guys can do what you want with it. But this is what Alvin Kamara had to say speaking to the media right now. He said, talking about the offense, we need to have tough conversations soon. Yeah, I think I know what that conversation means. Pete's got to get the fuck out of New Orleans. That's what the conversation means. Because he don't know what he's doing. Lala says to not score a touchdown in the Dome is unreal. Joshua says we might end up with a top 5 pick with this type of performance. Last week I gave the defense a break because of circumstances, but Jesus, they look just as bad as the offense this week. Yeah, I said the defense struggled today, and some people gave me flack and goes, well, Chris, the offense sucks. They do not have to be mutually exclusive. The offense can suck, and the defense can suck. And unfortunately for the Saints, both were not good today. So it doesn't have to be 1-1. You can rip on the offense because it's well-deserved to rip on the offense, and the Saints' offense is an absolute joke. But I do think it's fair to call out the defense when Baker Mayfield looks as good as he did today. Marco says Carr sucked, but even running slants and Kamara, you can score with such talent. H-Cat says Saints needed this loss, in my opinion. Hopefully Loomis and Gale finally wake up and realize the Sean Payton era, while amazing, needs to end. I hate losing, especially like this, but it's needed. We'll see. Pete and Dennis should never come back to the Dome. I agree, but we all know at least one of them is going to come back soon enough. Pottyman27 says, realistically, if the Saints lose out and trade a few pick/players, could we get the number 1 pick and get Caleb Williams? I feel like this team needs a young dual-threat quarterback to help meet the new norm. I don't think Caleb Williams will be theirs, obviously. Caleb Williams has Chicago Bears written all over him. Bears right now, as of today, own the number 1 pick and the number 2 pick because they also have the Panthers pick from the Bryce Young trade. Now, you want to sell me on, can they get a Drake May? Can they get a Shedeur Sanders? Sure. Let's talk about it. Maybe a Quinn Ewers, sure. But not Caleb, because Caleb is going to go 1 and the Saints aren't going to be able to get 1. Oh, my Lord. Marco, I'm not going to read this one, but that's a hell of a comment. Connor with the shift says, waste of $150 million. Sorry to say it. We could have kept Winston for all this shit. Look, I think that's the argument I had on Twitter with someone. And by argument, I mean I agree with them. So many people say, oh, but, it's not Derek Carr's fault. Or some people hate Derek Carr. Or some people say Jameis should start. Or some people hate Jameis. And my argument is they're not neither one is a legitimate franchise QB. Neither one. And for New Orleans, the only argument I will take if people say they want Jameis in, because I do think Derek is better than Jameis, although it's not by much, obviously, with the way he's playing right now, is Jameis would be cheaper. And if that's your argument, I respect the hell out of that argument. It's a fair argument. But that's the only argument I want to have, because neither quarterback is playing well the last 2 years for them. And it's just the truth of the matter. But I think even if we got like a young, really, really, really talented quarterback in here with this staff, they'd look like shit, man. That's just how I feel about it personally. Cooler Beat says whole team is aesthetic at this point. Looks pretty on the surface, but it's not real. Kind of agree. Every year, this fan base jumps in uproar when analysts state the obvious about this team, and it plays out exactly how they say. When we learn that no matter what players what players you have, our coaches suck. Yep, I agree. It sucks, man. But like the Nick Wrights of the world get validated because guys like Dennis Allen and Pete Carmichael aren't doing their jobs. So I guess good for them being right, but for us it stinks because then we got to deal with that. And obviously that's not ideal. Fire DA into the fucking sun. If Carmichael is not fired by tomorrow, we are a joke of an organization. Guys, I do not know if he's going to get fired tomorrow. Pete told us he didn't want to be an offensive coordinator and we forced him in there. Get his ass out. Yeah, I agree with that. Like, I don't understand. Like, he didn't want to be there and they still kept him. It makes no sense to me. Please kill the damn Carr versus Jameis debate. It's tiring. Leave that shit alone. It isn't a QB problem. The play calling isn't opening up anything. And y'all will cry about him forcing a pass. Yeah, look, the quarterback play is not great right now. But the quarterback play is going to continue to not be great as long as the Saints have this OC issue. The Saints had a legit OC and Derek Carr is playing terrible right now. We could be like, man, what a horrible contract that is. Although right now it looks like a bad contract for the Saints. But it always, for me, I always work from the top and then work my way to the bottom. And Derek Carr is a problem. But I wonder how much is he a symptom of the problem than the actual problem itself, if that makes sense. Cooler Beat says, meanwhile, Eric B has Commanders offense going toe-to-toe with the Eagles. This could have been our head coach, by the way. Like I said, Commanders were able to get someone, and the Saints decided, let's run it back with Pete. Cam says Pete was trying to retire. He doesn't give one damn. It makes no sense, man. Pete literally was ready to just bow out and leave New Orleans, leave coaching, take his sabbatical. And the Saints said, nah, why don't you come back and run our offense? And now he's got to run an offense that he doesn't want to run in the first place. And he can't run because outside of a scripted drive, which only resulted in 3 points anyway, because that's all the Saints know how to do is kick a field goal. And you got to hope it goes in. He has nothing. There's no flow. He doesn't play to the down and distance. He thinks that you could run 4 verticals, 30 straight plays in a row. I don't get it. I don't get it. It's really, really baffling. But this is our reality right now, guys. This is our reality. Mr. Game & Watch says, well, guys, think it's time the offense is now becoming a major problem again. Yeah, that's for sure. That is for sure. Marco says, our playbook is my 7-year-old nephew playing Madden, and even he gets first downs. DJ says, I'm so mad, I don't even know what the fuck I want to say, but yeah, Pete's ass out of here. I agree. Like, guys, sometimes I get so frustrated with the way the Saints offense is that before I start the show, I start thinking, like, what am I going to open up with? Because there's so many thoughts, like, going through my brain, and none of them are positive. And I just kind of have a loss of words. I know what the problem is. It's DA. It's not having an actual coaching staff that knows what they're doing offensively. But the right way to put it sometimes, I don't know if there is a right way, other than telling them you fucking suck. Hail Mendoza with the super chat. Thank you for the support, my man. I greatly appreciate it. Louisiana football and bad coaching, like peanut butter and jelly. What a weekend for Louisiana football, right? You have one opposite side of the spectrum. LSU loses, and there was some coaching gaps there, but most of it was defensive because that was just an absolute shootout in Oxford. And then you have today where the Saints offense can't score to save their lives. So I guess the duality of man at some level. Hail Mendoza also says, going to be honest, the defense has been very mediocre recently. As good as our players are, they're not stopping anybody. Yeah, the last 6 quarters of football for this defense, or I'll say 5 because technically they shut out the Packers through 3. The last 5 quarters of football for this Saints defense have been bad. Straight up bad. Like there's no sugarcoating it. That's just the truth of the matter. Mr. Game & Watch says, knew they weren't coming back after how the first half went. Yeah, that's for damn sure. Margaret says the team and coaching is hot garbage. Joe Weenie says, whose idea was it to open up with a Hail Mary on Jameis's first play in the game? I don't fucking know, man. Like I said, Pete thinks you could run 4 verticals an entire game. Fan base focuses on Twitter comment narratives rather than the actual problem. Carr is not the problem. Pete is the problem. Literally, the only thing wrong with this team is play calling. Tired of the BS. I don't think it's the only problem with the Saints, though. I do think it is a problem with the Saints. Like, play calling is a problem with the Saints. But let's say they get Pete out, right? If they continue to struggle, are the Saints going to have the balls to do what's necessary, which is just start over, which is what they kind of have to do at some point. Marco says, I'm actually happy we choked. Clearly highlights the coaching staff for once. Coaching staff was highlighted all of last year, and they decided running back. So I really don't know. Gavin says this season's feeling more and more like last season. At least Brzie's good. Brzee is awesome. There's no doubt about it. Comment here from Antonio with a really nice super chat here. Thank you for the support, Antonio. Greatly appreciate it, my man. Says, the offense is draining the life out of the rest of the team. Going 3-and-out consistently is toxic to the rest of the team. The defense is getting worn down too early in the season. Also, get Headley the fuck out. He sucks. All right, so let's go through your points. Offense is draining the team. I totally agree about it. And you see that the energy level's bad, right? Chris Olave's energy looked really, really bad today. And I don't want to pick on Olave. Like, you guys know I love Chris Olave. But his energy was bad today. And I think for New Orleans, that's going to be a problem moving forward. If this offense continues to struggle, guys are going to be putting their heads down. They're going to be moping around. And I'm not saying I blame them. It's just like, it's human nature. If you start to struggle and work's not fun, guess what? You're going to mope a little bit. If I'm not having fun at my job, I'm not going to be sitting there with a smile on my face every single second. It's hard to do that. So when the offense starts struggling, it's going to leak into the defense. And of course, that's going to cause other problems. Now, I think last week was more so the offense screwing over the defense because the offense wasn't having quick 3-and-outs today. They were having slow, useless drives. Like they would get a first down, but it was check down, check down, check down, first down, check down, maybe one first down more, and then a punt. So the defense wasn't getting gassed defensively. They just didn't play that well, in my opinion. As for Lou Headley, he's fucking terrible. He looks awesome. I think his tattoo work is one of a kind, but he's not good. He's just not good. But thank you again, Antonio, for the super chat, man. I really do appreciate it. HCat says, love my favorite Saints community to rant with. Always a great time with y'all to be in pain. I appreciate that. Joshua says, why are you running 30-yard routes when all you need is 5 yards? I have no idea. Walltown Best 88 says, all we're going to hear is we have to clean things up. That's all he says. I swear to God, the only thing Dennis Allen's good for is a Mr. Clean ad, because that's all he says. They could lose by 3 or they could lose by 300, and he says we got to clean it up. Scott says, worst game I ever watched. Disgusting to let Baker Mayfield look like a Hall of Famer. This made me nauseous. Marco says, old Saints Wolves here. Please tell me how realistic it is to expect our team to fire Pete. Man, if he's not fired by the time I get off this stream, I'm going to be so disappointed. That's just the truth of the matter, you know? And what sucks is there's like some things that actually were solid today that I can't even talk about, you know? Like, I thought the offensive line played better today, but I can't talk about it because offense was so bad. What's the point of highlighting the offensive line playing well if the offense didn't do anything? Although, credit to the offensive line. They did step up today. Ellie says, or is this Eli? I'm going to go Eli. Eli says, dear Mickey Loomis, please fire Pete and hire literally anyone else for goodness sake. I agree with you. Joshua says, all Carmichael wants is a 40-yard bomb. Melo says, we still need a quarterback. DC has more throwing attempts than yards. I'm sick to my stomach. Margaret says, Bucs will take the division for sure. We are awful. As of now, they got to be the class of the NFC South. I don't know if that's saying much, but hey, look, they won today. They're first place in the division by themselves. Credit to them. Space African Jesus says, Winston versus Carr is such a pointless debate. If Pete is your OC, it doesn't matter. And to be honest, both quarterbacks aren't good right now. Carr at least has shown ability in the past, but both aren't good at the moment. You're spitting, man. You are spitting in a good way. Melo says, Carmichael has, with this offense, is like giving a kid who doesn't know how to drive a Lamborghini. I agree, but I would trust the kid with the Lamborghini before I trusted Pete Carmichael again. I'm going to be honest. Margaret says, I'd rather have Hill at QB. Tony says, the Saints are my team, but today they suck. Dennis Allen is the problem. What are they going to do? Looks like another losing season. Seems like right now. Derek Carr is shit, says another fan, which hard to argue with that after today's performance. That was bad. All World Trucker says, should have just hired Eric Bieniemy, keep DA as DC, and Pete could just stay as an advisor. No, Pete could get the fuck out. That's what Pete can do. I agree with that point. DA would never stay as DC. It's like you would have to get Bieniemy as your head coach and it's clean house, which I think you got to live with. Because part of me is scared of like, what does the post-DA Saints look defensively? But the more I think about it, a lot of the Saints' talent defensively is kind of old anyway. DeMario, Cam, Tyrann Mathieu, Marcus May. Marshawn's getting up there. He's still great and he's still in his prime, but he's getting older. You don't have a lot of young defensive talent, so you're going to have to start over at some point anyway. Space African Jesus says defense wasn't elite, but the blame is on the offense. Defense did get screwed on that fumble by Prentice. They actually got hurt by getting an interception because the offense fumbled. Laughed my ass off. I agree. Which, by the way, should have been a touchback. But even if it's not a touchback, right? You have to get out of the end zone. You can't afford a safety or a fumble. And you thought Adam Prentice is your option? That's like if I need someone to score a game-winning bucket and I pull someone off the bench. He hasn't been in the game. What the fuck are you putting him in there in a crunch time situation? I don't understand it. Walltown Best 88 says nobody's being held accountable. Yeah, and I think that's a big problem with the Saints right now. I think the Saints have zero accountability, and I don't know when it's going to change. I really don't. I think that it's a huge, huge issue. Hale Mendoza says, do the Jets still want Derek Carr? Probably not. Solid my ass. Carr is awful. Yeah, Carr's been awful the first couple of games of the season. There's no doubt about it. It's not even a couple now. It's 4 games. I'm losing track of time here. Margaret says, I thought we should have gotten Eric Bieniemy. Could have used him, that's for sure, the way this is going. Tony says, start Jameis. They can start Jameis right now. I actually would have started Jameis today. I felt like no reason to start Derek Carr. Would have got the same result. Or maybe even better. Who the fuck knows? But like I said, start Jameis, start Derek, start whoever the hell you want. Until Pete Carmichael's gone, this offense is going to be bad. 9 points. 9 points. Zach says Adam Prentice had 2 huge plays that killed us. He did. That's for sure. Mr. Game On says, ain't going to help when Carmichael's play calling sucks. And the O-line still sucks. I thought the O-line was better today. But, doesn't matter when everything else is shit. Scout Without Clout says, Gruden time? Maybe. Bring someone in. Bring someone in and try and figure this out. Because to go 13 more games of Pete Carmichael is just abuse to your fans. I don't know what the definition is, I don't know what it is, but it's fan abuse. No fan base should have to go through 13 more games of Pete Carmichael calling plays offensively. Justin Formy says it's okay for you to pat your back about signing Carr. I remember you saying signing him wasn't the best solution. No, I mean, the way I saw about Derek Carr was this. I got why they signed him. They thought elite defense and let's play complimentary football. I didn't love the move, but I didn't hate it. But they're not playing complimentary football right now. So right now, it doesn't look great. That's the reality. It looks terrible right now. Tony says the Saints are not a real team after today's game. That's for sure. Margaret says Tank can get the quarterback from USC. Not going to happen, but I like the wishful thinking. Zeke says Ben Johnson for head coach. There are a lot more where that came from. That's for sure. Ryan says, let Jameis start. Carr wasn't accurate when he threw the deep passes to Olave, Rashid, and MT. Right? And the best part was they go, well, it's not physical, his concerns right now. Oh, so it's mental? Because if it's mental, that's not great either. Like, Dennis Allen doesn't even know what to say to the media correctly. I'm going to bite my tongue here. Scott says, I feel you. I'm highly concerned now. That's for sure. Scout Without Cloud says, quarterback can get better, but we need an O-line and play caller. They need a play caller for sure. Joe Weenie says, we're going to be a team with an interim head coach by week 6. I doubt it, but who knows? Gabriel says, if we score over 30 this year, I'll donate my house to charity. I don't do that. God forbid the defense has 2 pick sixes in a game and gets them to 30, but I agree with you. There's no confidence. There's no confidence for them to get to 20, let alone 30. Scout Without Cloud says, what embarrassing is Matt Arise as a free agent, and we're playing with this 30-year-old trash punter. He has been awful, that's for sure. Just Call Me Trey says, Dennis Allen, Pete Carmichael got to go. Too many weapons to be scoring 9 points. Dudes will think it was the Bucs defense, but no, it sure as hell wasn't. Fuck players, it's coaching. I don't know if you guys have seen the meme. So it's like this younger kid, he's talking to his team. I don't know the context of it, but he's talking about them. I guess they lost. It's like a youth football league. And out of nowhere, he just turns on the coaching staff. He's like, it's not your fault. It was the coaches. This is the Saints. This is what the Saints are now. Just looking at everything that they've done the last 2 years, it's all coaching. All coaching. I'm going to pull this tweet up from Nick Underhill real quick. Dennis Carr was asked if he planned to change the play callers or what it would take to get to that point. He said the coach said he didn't want to go there in the press conference, but said they're going to look at everything this week. He better change something, man. It's his job we're talking about. He better change something. Running back this same shit, it's not flying. It's just not flying at all. And I think for him, if you want to sink to the bottom with Pete Carmichael. But if you want to try and stay afloat, you got to make that OC change. Jacob says, is it worth making the 4-hour drive to Gillette Stadium next week? I would say no, but you do you. But I would say no. The Patriots defense has been outstanding this year. Now, I don't know how they're doing right now against the Cowboys. I'd have to go check. But that defense has been really good this year. That defense will destroy the Saints offense if they continue to play the way they are. Wake up, Saints organization, says Tony. Listen to us. We always tell the truth. Yeah, sometimes we overreact, but sometimes we know. And for the last 2 years, we've been saying that Dennis Allen ain't it, but they're running it back. And Pete Carmichael hasn't been it either. So wholesale changes, but it's not happening. Can't sell me on DA and Pete anymore. Sorry, but they got to go. Don't have to say sorry. That's for sure. Don't have to say sorry. Baker Mayfield rushed for 13 less yards than AK, Joe says. That's fucking embarrassing. Not on AK, obviously on the offense coach staff. I thought AK looked fresh today. I thought he looked really good. You can tell that he's been keeping himself ready for this moment, but it was a waste. Why did they put Jameis in? My guy threw an interception for shits and giggles, as he should have, to be honest. F-U, D-A, and Pete. I don't blame you. I think Caleb should go to the Broncos. We'll see. I mean, right now the Bears are going to be the front runners in the sweepstakes, but Broncos don't look much better either. Troy says, no coach accountability nor motivation. I know we need to move on from the Sean era, but he would have been pissed at the podium. Yeah, I mean, Sean's a legit coach. Dennis Allen's a substitute teacher. You know, that's kind of what I've been getting at with this whole thing, and it's unfortunate that that's where we're at, but it's the truth. DA said he won't look at play caller change. DA's full of shit. He's going to have to, or else he could lose his job. Zeke says, I think Derek Carr would actually look better with an actual NFL offensive coordinator. Don't want to give up our investment yet. Yeah, I'm not saying like you give up on the investment yet. It's just, it's very true that right now it looks like a very bad investment. Dog, why did he play Jameis? Why didn't he play Jameis? Could have given us a better chance. You tell me, man. I have no idea. Like, Derek didn't look right, which is normal. He had an AC joint sprain like 7 days ago. But they said he looked good in practice, so yippee. D-line needs to be talked about. 2 games in a row, no pressure on the QB. Like I said, man, Baker Mayfield had so much time that he fucking shot about 17 different Progressive commercials and then threw a touchdown pass. It's embarrassing, man. Gruden's sitting at home right now. Why not bring him in? I would not be shocked if that's who they bring in. I would not be shocked. That kind of seems like it's going to be. Eli says, how much would we have to pay Breeze to come back to be an offensive coordinator? I'll start a GoFundMe. I've asked Breeze a couple of times about whether or not he'd want to coach. He continues to shoot it down. And that's so much pressure for him to come into New Orleans in this situation, hypothetically. I just think, I don't think it's going to happen. I love the thought of it. I just don't think it's going to happen. Thomas says, Jameis must have stole people's lunch money, retirement, and savings. Maybe. Jordan says, even with the criticism of the defense, they still only gave up 26, which isn't too bad. Yeah, and again, 7 of it is because of the fumble from Adam Prentice, because when the game is in a crucial moment, I want Adam Prentice running the football, not Taysom Hill, not Alvin. I want Adam Prentice. It's like the whole fate of the universe on the line, give me Iguodala thing, except Pete Carmichael actually gave it to Adam Prentice, which I can't believe. Peter's a robot, says Lance, cannot make in-game adjustments. That's for sure. Pete can't hide behind the O-line today. They were pretty damn good. I agree. I think the tape, when I rewatch, it's going to show that. I'm going to dread rewatching this game, guys. Absolutely dread it. Pass rush seems to be a problem. Brzee looks like a great pick so far, though. He was awesome. I want to give a thumbs up to Brian Brzee. Hell of a pick. He's been great. Jack says, would you report me to the police if I assassinated Pete? I mean, I think that... How do I respond to that? Someone asked me on Twitter, too. They're like, maybe we can pull a bunch of money together to get a quality hitman. And I'm like, just leave me out of this. I just want the man fired. I don't want him off the face of the universe. Red Joseph says we're relying on the Pelicans to redeem Louisiana sports this season. Good luck. Lance says time for RC to call plays. Defense mediocre due to injury. Can't run. Exotic. Yeah, I would let Coach Curry run it. See what he's got. Easy Zero says the crazy thing is our next 5 games are all winnable. Every game this season is going to be winnable for this team. They just suck offensively. That's just the truth. Got a super chat here from Crushing DA Discussion. Appreciate the support, man. What's an arm? What's a leg without a effing brain? We lack creativity and ingenuity. Pete Carmichael has to go. I love that, by the way. I love that. You know? I agree. What's the point of upgrading quarterback, or at least you think so? Having 3 elite wide receivers, having an elite running back, having a solid tight end room, if your offensive play calling stinks. And the fact that he's done it now 4 straight games where it's been a 3rd and short, and he said, let's send this ball to the fucking moon. I don't think he understands down and distance. I don't think he does. There's so many moments I'll watch a Saints game and I go, okay, it's Taysom territory. And then the Saints throw a shot down the field. And I'm like, why the fuck do I know what the answer is, but you don't? And you're on the coaching staff. Not that I'm not saying I know more than Pete Carmichael. He obviously knows far more about football than I do. But he really, really struggles during the common sense moments. And that's not a good sign at all. Zeke says, I can't wait for Debo to come back. Isaac Yodom is dog water. I think Isaac's had some pretty good moments, but he does get burnt a decent bit. You know, he does get burnt a decent bit, but I think he's been fine. He hasn't been like the big issue for this team. Obviously, it's still offensively, but he's had his fair share of ups and downs, which is expected. I mean, he's your 4th corner. Red Joseph says the Saints, bar in DC, decided to stop showing games before the season started. They prophesized this. Yeah, I guess they did. Kudos to them for being ahead of the curve. Jack says Olave got popped on a screen pass and was never the same after that, in my opinion. Yeah, popped on a screen pass. The deep shots to him weren't on time. I get the frustration. I wish he didn't show it in his route running. I wish there was more energy and enthusiasm in him running routes, but I understand why he was frustrated. Fans think the defense is bad now. Just wait till they truthfully believe nothing they do matters because the offense isn't going to score. I agree. Wait until they reach that point where the Jets are now, where their team's like, what the hell's the point of us doing anything? Our quarterback can't do shit. If they get to that phase, It's going to be all downhill. I promise you, it's going to be all downhill if they get to that point. So let's hope that they figure it out. Chris Long says Lou Hedley might just be the worst punter in the league. He is, but he's also the coolest. Just kidding. He fucking sucks. He fucking sucks. I'm tired of it. I've complained about him 5 straight weeks. Jack says, per John O'Barnes, this team sucks because it's bad and it's too boring to be mentioned at all by the media. I agree. The Saints are so freaking boring. No one's going to talk about them tomorrow, which I guess is a good thing, right? That the Saints can lose and you don't got to wake up and watch a bunch of shows that talk about how bad they are. But at the same hand, imagine being so boring that no one gives a shit whether you win or lose. That's just the truth. That's what the Saints are in the DA era. That's what the Saints are. And it's not going to change until he gets out of here. Easy says we got the Pats, Texans, Colts, and Bears. Next, man, I have no faith. Well, let me give you the breakdown. Patriots defense will probably destroy the Saints offense. Texans defense will probably destroy the Saints offense. Anthony Richardson will probably run all over the Saints defense. And Justin Fields will probably run all over the Saints defense. But I swear to God, they lose to the fucking Bears. Dennis Allen has to be fired and exempt from the NFL for the end of time. Exempt. Can't be a DC for anyone. Gone. Done. Nothing. Trav504 says, prepare for disappointment. I don't think they're firing Pete. We'll see. I don't know why. They got to do something. I feel like this year's a little bit different because Dennis Allen knows if he doesn't win this year, he's fired. So there is that well, man, someone's got to walk the plank. But I will agree with you that I don't know if it's going to happen right now. But they wet the bed again, and surely they will. Something's going to change. Ed says we are 2-2, 1 game out. Every year the Saints have a clunker at home. Fuck Pete, though. The play calling was horrendous. It's been clunkers through 4 games, though. They just happen to be 2-2. Like the Saints are 2-2, but none of it's impressive. None of it is, well, I think they did this really well, and they could build off that. They have nothing to build off right now. Zeke says either DA has to grow a pair and fire Pete, or Mickey can grow one and fire them both. Yeah, we'll see. Nick says, with all the great young offensive play callers we see every week, we're still rolling with these dipshits. No one's going to be held accountable. Sick Willie says, Carr sucks. He was horrendous today. Horrendous. And I'm not going to say I'm like a Carr fan or I'll cut quarterback slack, but I try not to say they're horrendous because I try to take it a little bit easy. But, yeah, horrendous. Mike Tomlin was asked if there's going to be changes. He says, hell yeah. Why can't we get this from Dennis Allen? Because Dennis Allen is incompetent. Mike Tomlin at least won a Super Bowl. Mike Tomlin is a proven winner. And Mike Tomlin's worst season as an NFL head coach is better than Dennis Allen's best season. So, yeah, Mike Tomlin's just better than DA. Like, it's just that simple for me. And he can read a room. Something DA can't do. Space African Jesus says, if you take away the fumble, drive touchdown from the Bucs, they scored 19 points. Now, I don't think the defense was great, but again, the blame goes to the offense, in my opinion. Yeah, I'm cool with that. Like I said, I think that the Saints defense has struggled the last 5 quarters, but they're not the main problem. And I would never say that they're the main problem because we all agree what the main problem is. Ed says, defense like the Cowboys, get 2 or 3, 1 turnover, whoopee. Jack says, I don't think I watched 13 more seconds of Pete Carmichael calling plays. Forget 13 games. Carl says, you could have started Jesus Christ with Carmichael calling plays. Jesus wasn't. Oh, man. I agree. I don't care who's behind, who's under center with Pete calling plays. Nothing's going to go. Alexa says, I got tickets for the Saints-Texans game, and I just know I'm going to be disappointed. I hope you're not, but maybe you'll get to see CJ Stroud do his thing, and maybe that'll be fun at least. Michael says, I'd rather watch my dog take a shit than watch the Saints play like they did today. Yeah. I'd rather take a shit than watch the Saints play today. I've never been this fucking bored watching Saints football, guys. I've never been this bored. Like, I'm not even mad anymore. I'm just like, I'm frustrated that I'm bored. Like, they don't even lose in fun ways. They lose in the most boring ways. And then after, you got to hear their boring coach talk about the most boring things. And then they do the same thing the next week. If I start a show and the show sucks, I don't continue. But I'm too loyal to the Saints, so I'm going to be sitting here for the next 13 weeks talking about it. Saints have 7 turnovers in 4 games, says Easy Zero. They had 10 turnovers total last year. Oh, good God. Yeah, I mean, they're forcing turnovers, but the offense sucks. Red Joseph says the jet stream of bullshit from Pete Carmichael's playbook is truly exhausting. We haven't scored a touchdown since the second quarter of week 3. Ed says, see how the Packer game comes back. 3-1 and 2-2, big difference. Sure, I'm not disagreeing with that, but even if like the Packers game didn't happen, right? The Saints aren't getting better each week. Like they're not. Like other teams are getting better each week. The Saints are staying the same or now regressing somehow. Nick says whole organization has zero accountability. You're not the only one saying that. Jay Warner says Dennis Allen could have coached a Pee Wee game. Doozy says fan abuse. Laugh my ass off, but you're right. Lance says Derek looked short on some deeper passes, but why was he asked to throw deep balls into zone? Play calling is the problem. Again, I agree play calling is the problem. I just saw quarterback played bad today. That's what I would say. But play calling is the problem. Now, I'm going to get into more comments from you guys in just a second, but before I do that, I want to get into one of the sponsors of our show, DraftKings Sportsbook.
Can you believe we've had 7 months without an NFL game? Crazy, right? Well, good thing that's over. NFL's here, and DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NFL, is giving you a can't-miss offer. New customers can get $200 in bonus bets instantly when you bet just $5 on any NFL game. DraftKings is hooking everyone up with game day greatness. Download now and use code BOOT to sign up. New customers can take home $200 in bonus bets instantly just for betting $5. That's code BOOT only on DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NFL. The crown is yours.
Once again, thank you to DraftKings for being part of the program. Going to get back into whatever comments you guys have here as we continue the, the second stretch of this Q&A session here. Justin says, if Saints miss the playoffs, fire everyone, including Loomis. I said it. I agree with you. Fire everyone, please. I'm about to do like an ASMR Saints rant. And we'll see how that goes. Max says, dude, we suck. It's like totally different, totally different teams since Carr's injury on all sides of the ball. I mean, yes and no. The offense was sucking even when he was healthy. Now they just suck even more. So at some point, we have to stop calling our games and schedules easy when we are the easy game. I agree with you. Every game is winnable for every team in the NFL. That's like the truth of the matter. And for every team looking at the Saints right now, you're thinking, okay, don't have to account much offensively. So I got to see if I could put together a good game plan on offense and wear down their defense. Alexis says, our offense is stale as hell, stuck in 2011. What times they were. The Saints 2011 offense could put up more points in a 4-game stretch than this Saints offense could put up in a 17-game stretch. Honest to God. Honest to God. And that Saints 2011 offense had a 62-point game at one point. So I think I might be right here. Yeah, you do know more than Carmichael. I don't, but I'll take the compliment for sure. Question DA discussion says, put a 1 in the chat if you would sign a petition for firing of this regime. Can I spam a bunch of ones? 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1. Yeah, I want them all gone. I can't make it any more clear. Max says our offense has been vanilla, flat, and predictable for years now. And there's one guy who's been in charge of the offense that whole time. Pete needs to be unemployed ASAP before they squander it all. Yeah, if Pete's not looking for a job on LinkedIn by tomorrow morning, something's wrong. Zeke says, how has DA not lost the locker room yet? Because they have good leaders, probably. That'd be my only answer for you, man. Max says, hey, Gillikin's a free agent. Bring him back. Loose kicks could likely be better if he follows through. I don't know. I really don't know. Get this whole Sean Payton era the fuck out of here. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Jack says, a good shit can actually be kind of nice. I agree. There could be some relief to that. You know? Not that I want to talk about my bowel movements during a podcast, but there are so many things that absolutely are not fun in life, and they're not as infuriating as watching this Saints team. Like a doctor's visit. I'll go schedule a colonoscopy as opposed to watching this fucking Saints team right now. Like that's how bad this offense is. Your defense doesn't even have to be amazing to be a contender. Your offense just has to score more than 13 points a fucking game. And they can't do that. Space African Jesus says, that's what sucks about the Saints since Breeze retired. They suck and they suck to watch. At least the 7-9 teams were fun as hell to watch. Frustrating but fun. The 7-9 teams were frustrating because you knew that you're wasting Drew's prime, but god damn it, they were fun. Like, come on. Beating the Giants 52-49? Yeah, sure, that took a couple years off my life, but also gave me like 4 hours of joy. So the Saints give me no joy right now. Max says, thoughts on Kamara's comment about we need to have tough conversations soon regarding the offense? Yeah, I think Kamara's saying what we're all thinking. Like, they are a mess right now in terms of play calling, scheming correctly for their guys. They dink and dunk their way to 9 points. That can't happen. Breeze, at age 75, with his shoulder off the bone can do that. This should not be happening. Joe says, let's change what we call taking a shit to taking a Pete. Yeah, I'm cool with that. What are you doing? Dropping a Pete, taking a Carmichael? I'm cool with that. Yeah, I'll try and get that going. I'm sure the Saints wouldn't appreciate it, but who cares at this point? Ricky says, next loss, DA is going to say that we're going to watch the film and learn from our mistakes. Same thing every game. I know. And he's taking a lot of L's. So, you know how many times he said this? Like, Dennis Allen is a machine when it comes to taking L's. Like, very, very good at it. I got to give him his props at that. So, I really don't know. I really do not know. Play design is the problem for Carmichael, just trash. Raphael says, shaking my head, just tired of Pete and Dennis. They got to go. Seems to be the reoccurring theme here. Reoccurring theme for sure. I think we're seeing that it wasn't Sean or Pete. It was the God tier greatest of all time, carrying us since 2008. I don't know. I still think Sean deserves a lot of credit. I think Pete deserves no credit. Like, fuck out of here. Like, Pete Carmichael, no credit. I've seen Sean have success with Teddy Bridgewater. I've seen Sean have success with Jameis. I've seen Sean have success with Taysom. I've seen Sean have success with Trevor Siemian. I'm going to cut Sean his slack. Pete Carmichael, no. Michael says, I like you, bro. Thank you for running the show. Appreciate that. I appreciate that. Look, man, if you can't have some type of laughter / fun in the fact that this Saints team is just doing the same thing over and over again every week, then it's just going to make these weeks worse and worse for us. So let's let that noon to 3 p.m. window stink, but don't let it kill the rest of your day, if that makes sense. Like, I think the Saints Twitter podcast, although I forgot what they rebranded to. I want to get it correct here because they deserve a shout out. I think it's like the Saints Block Party. That's what they rebranded to. They talk a lot about like detaching yourself from the Saints. And it's not like you don't have rooting interest. You're not invested in the game. It's just like when the game ends, don't let Pete Carmichael not know what he's doing ruin your Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. If it's going to ruin your Sunday, all right, fine, even though I don't agree with it. But don't let it ruin the rest of your week. Zeke says, I don't even wake up excited for Saints games anymore. Neither do I, that's for sure. Daryl says, we need to see RC call games. I don't know if it's a scheme or in-game play calls. I'm going to say play calls, but could be the scheme too. Carl says, time for Mrs. Benson to save her husband's team. Fire DA and Pete Carmichael. I don't know if it's going to happen, but we can have wishful thinking. I ain't going to slander Sean. I'm grateful, and he got dicked over by the league. Kind of did. Michael says, I'll be back. I have to go take a quick Pete. It worked well there. No excuse for the offense. They to not be scoring with the amount of talent they have. I agree. But what are we going to do? We've been saying it for 4 weeks now and probably going to be saying it for 13 more. Space African Jesus says, every Saints fan should ban the word continuity from the Twitter for their own mental health. I fucking hate that word, man. Heard it all of last year. I don't want to hear it anymore. I'm mentally checked out from that word. Justin Formy says, the only positive thing about DA is we don't have to hear him say we like the guys in our locker room. Yeah, I guess. For your mental health, just radically accept that the team is going to shit the bed and you won't be disappointed. Yeah, that's kind of where I'm at. Fred says, I'd rather go hunting with Dick Cheney than watch another Pete Carmichael called game. That's pretty funny. I wanted last season to be the end of this era, and we were ready to watch a fun rebuild with something to look forward to. But here we are after being sold a dream on retool and change, shaking my head. This sucks. Kind of does. Jack says that loss last week ruined the rest of my Sunday because of how devastating it was. Yeah, I mean, I kind of get it. I'm not devastated right now. I'm just tired of watching the Saints offense. All this talent in the offense, and they can't put up 20-plus points. Fire D and Pete. They can't put up double digits, guys. They can't put up double digits. It went from they can't put up 20, but they can't put up double digits now. It's sad. It's so freaking sad. Saints and Pels have a seriously bad case of sunken cost fallacy syndrome. Wonder what the common denominator is. John says, I'm glad video games have been amazing this year. I'm going to play Liza P and Vibe without this team ruining my Sunday. What a crappy football weekend. Yeah, everyone in the NFC South lost this week, including your Saints, obviously, and the Bucs are the big winner of it because had the Saints won, Bucs lose, Falcons lose, Panthers lose. But instead, Saints end up being part of that losing group, and the Bucs are on top. And this team doesn't look like they're getting any better. They look like they're getting worse. Santa Kira says Gruden should be in the building Monday morning. Carmichael should be on his way to clean his office right now. Don't even let him clean his office. He probably wouldn't even do that right. That one game Ian Book start put more points than the Saints all year. Fuck, man. Is that true? I'm going to be sick to my stomach right now if I have to go check that. No, they didn't. They didn't. I just checked. 20-3. But that was a good joke, though, because it made me check. Ready for the 2024 season? I'm not if DA's back. Coded Collection says, I went to the game and I never felt the urge to leave more than a day. I was legitimately bored. Yeah, that's a bad look, man. Not for you. That's a bad look for the Saints. If people are going to the games and they don't feel like it's worth staying there, that's a problem, and I don't know how it gets fixed. Should have got Eric Bieniemy. That seems to be a popular theory. This would be a lot better with a new coaching staff and a young quarterback because it would make sense. We're watching 30-year-old vets and old coaches that don't know how to make how to move a football. Hard to say it. Jack says the Bucs have been the only NFC South team to win in the last 2 weeks. That is fucking absurd. Ricky says at least we will get a top draft pick. I don't know, man. They'll win enough games to not be picking towards the top, as they always do. Justin Formu says if this season continues to go down the tank, what percentage do you give Gale on firing the coaching staff? 100. 100. Zeke says they really let Eric Bieniemy leave the facility without a job. Bet your ass they did. Space African Jesus says the fact that we have 2 wins right now, so we can't even tank. Bears are kicking everyone's ass in the world of tanks right now. Yeah, it's a blowout. It is a blowout right now in that world. Cooler Beat says, just for perspective, this team has more turnovers than touchdowns. How? That's sad. Oh, that's sad. On the bright side, Final Fantasy VII Rebirth and Spider-Man 2 are coming. So I've never played Final Fantasy, so I don't know what that is. I apologize. I am excited for Spider-Man 2, though. I will be getting that. I will be playing it. Right now, I'm just rocking with FIFA 24, which I'm not vibing with right now, but that's what I've been rolling with. I could probably score more goals in a FIFA game than the Saints can score points in an NFL game. That's the truth. Anyway, guys, I'll get back to more comments from you guys in just a moment. I want to get to the last sponsor of today's show, Crystals.
I need to clear something up about New Orleans. While our culinary scene might be on fire, our food has never been about heat. It's always been about flavor. And this is how New Orleans does flavor. Are we clear? Crystals. How New Orleans does flavor.
Once again, thank you to Crystal for being part of the program. As always, we greatly appreciate it. Going to get into the last couple of comments we got here for today. And then that's going to wrap up this Sunday live stream. And then I'm going to get right back on my computer and I'm going to tweet that I want Pete Carmichael fired. And I'll try and fire off some memes that will maybe lighten the mood because that's how I kind of cope. So let's see what else you guys have going on here. All the teams who play that were supposed to be bad have their offensive flashing as the season goes on. We'll lose 4 of 5 the next games if no change. Possible. Dr. Joe Cool says we lost to Baker. Like they didn't even want to sign him to a multi-year contract. Dude, they lost a team that had their quarterback battling Kyle Trask in training camp. They made him look good. You know how sad that is? John says Eric Bieniemy being so tough on fundamentals is 100% the move we should have made. We are bad at the fundamentals. That's true. That's a very good point. I appreciate that. Jack says, is the pain worth it of losing to the Bears if it means DA and Pete get fired? Yes, that's for sure. My high school football team could be the Saints with Saints offense, and my team is 0-2. Fair enough. Pelicans Noah says, stand up and fire DA. It's time to move on to Eric B. Big Smokey says the team can't even score 20 points. Pathetic. I know you guys keep bringing up 20 because the defense does a good job of keeping up people under 20, but this offense, they're not scoring over 10 right now. Like, this is a problem. This is a really, really big problem. Last week they had 17. 7 of it was from special teams. The first week they won with 16 points, you know? Second week, I don't remember what they had the second week. All I remember was I was frustrated. So this offense, they are struggling right now. Justin Formu says, I want to believe you on Gale getting rid of DA, but don't forget the NFL put out a statement essentially saying don't fire coaches because it's getting too expensive. Well, I don't give a shit what they said because I can't do this anymore. I can't. Space African Jesus says Justin Fields threw more touchdowns today than the Saints have all season. Justin Fields. Yeah, Justin Fields looked good today. But which, by the way, indictment on Denver that happened. But yeah, that is embarrassing, right? Justin Fields, more touchdowns today than the Saints offense had. So all these like negative stats, I'm going to like put them up here. And then when I'm done with this, I'm going to start throwing them on Twitter so we can complain about it. because what's a day without complaining? Red Joseph says we need to red pill you into Final Fantasy. Great if you like single player games with a great story. All right, yeah, no, you guys can let me know. As always, you guys can always hit me up on Twitter and just, we'll chat about whatever. I need new hobbies, that's for sure. So maybe I'll make that one of it. Kevin says I could be a better OC than Pete. Well, Kevin, let's get you in the building, my man. Carl says, I remember when teams used to fear coming to the Dome. Not so much anymore. I know. When the Baker Mayfield-led Bucs don't fear coming to the Dome, it's a problem. Shay says, Saints really screwed up this time. Shouldn't have signed Carr, went 0-17 and drafted Caleb. Doozy says, Pats are catching a beatdown right now. Guess they got a get-right game coming up soon. Great. Oh, great. That is 1,000% going to happen now. 1,000% going to happen. Let me just go look. Yeah, 18-3. Go figure. Oh, well. I kind of expect a loss against the Pats anyway. Fred says Saints offense versus LSU defense. Something would have to give. That's pretty funny. Zeke says my sister is studying abroad in Europe this semester. Told her not to bother staying up late for the rest of the season. It's a waste of time. Just sucks. You're a good brother for saying that because it really isn't worth her time. Red Joseph says, think it was 16-15 week 2. I think that was week 1. Let me get week 2 real quick because it is escaping my mind what they beat the Panthers by. It was a score of 20-17. Wow, yippee. Pete don't got Sean and Breeze no more. He showed everybody his true self. That's for sure. Eddie says Cam Jordan was right. Aints Bucs aren't rivals. Yeah, I mean, like again, Bucs won. Bucs played a lot better than the Saints did today, and it's like, I'm not even mad. Like, who cares? Like, at this point, I just want the Saints to fix this shit. Marco says, I'd rather shoot myself in the groin than watch one more game of the Saints like that. All right, Plaxico, let's relax. Just kidding. I understand the pain. DJ says we have 13 more games left of this shit. We do. And I can't do it anymore. I really can't. But anyway, guys, this seems like a pretty good place to wrap it up. It's been over an hour of chatting with you guys. You guys have been freaking awesome as always. I know today absolutely sucked. I know the Saints were terrible. I'm going to hop on Twitter and talk about it with you guys in just a moment's notice. But I want to thank you guys as always for coming in, leaving your comments. It really is great. Thank you for the super chats as always. I greatly appreciate that as well. I hope you have a good upcoming Monday. There will be a show on Monday. Talk about hopefully an offensive coordinator change. And that'll be at 8 a.m. Central on Buccaneers Media's YouTube channel. So make sure you guys stay tuned for that. If you guys are up and you have nothing to do at 8 a.m., stop by, leave your thoughts and comments. But until then, that's going to wrap it up. Thank you guys so much for leaving your thoughts. And hopefully your Sunday night goes well because we know our Sunday afternoon sucked. But once again, guys, that's going to wrap it up. More coming soon from the Straight Up Saints podcast, the destination for the Who Dat Nation. Have a good Sunday, everyone.